This is a very critical year, and one of the things that we have learned during the pandemic that academia and industry interactions work. And a prime example of that is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine that we are looking forward to here in India, one of the major vaccine initiatives in the world. And I think the pandemic has done two things, and it's quite interesting that the national education policy has come to us during this very difficult phase in world history. The second thing that the pandemic has done is it has pushed education into the digital revolution that education systems all over the world, particularly in India, were teetering on for a long time. So that disruption, I think, is quite interesting. And the national education policy lays out, it's a very visionary document. It lays out the framework for many of the challenges that India, which is the world's largest school education system, and increasingly poised to become the largest higher education system. We have 130 million people under the age of 23 studying in our institutions. So with regards to the partnerships question, Sureshji, one of the flagship programs that British Council has in India, and we've been here in India for over 70 years now, is the UK-India Education Research Initiative. And that has run for over 14 years. It has triggered research collaborations, over 25,000 academic exchanges, and it has resulted in the publication of over 2,000 research papers, collaborative research papers between UK and Indian institutions. This flagship program of ours, the UK-India Education Research Initiative, UKARI for short, is a bilateral research program supported by Government of India, Department of Science and Technology in particular, and the UK government. Now, within UKD, there are a number of strands. Some of them are geared towards the skill side of things. And one of the most important part of the program, which is currently going on, is the Higher Education Leadership Development Program. And that will impact over 230 higher education leaders. And leadership matters. And I think one of the key and a pivotal point of NEP is looking at that aspect of how education ecosystems work. And I really take heart from what Rumi was saying earlier, that it really breaks down. The NEP tries to break down the silos in which education operates, both in terms of disciplines, but also brings in a lot of fluidity in how we learn. So I think that is quite important. The other very interesting facet of the national education policy that we are looking at very closely from British Council, and I will also urge everyone tuning in to consider it quite closely, is its provisions for school education vis-a-vis languages. It talks really progressively about the role of mother tongue based education in the foundational years of learning, and that really is absolutely vital to transform India's learning outcomes in the school system. And it is very progressive because it also says, the national education policy in section 4 clearly says that it requires English coming in gradually from class 8 onwards, particularly in the teaching of science and mathematics. And I think this has great sort of implication in transforming India's approach to education. I think one of the things that British Council gets accused of often is that we fly the flag for English medium instruction. And that is not the case. We support multilingual education and mother tongue based education in the primary stages of education. And that really sets the foundation for other language acquisition, including English. So English does have a very big role to play, but I think we shouldn't overplay the role of English. And I think this is where NEP is quite disruptive and in a very progressive way. One thing I would like to add to that mix, the big questions that are societal in nature are global in nature as well. They are transnational issues. So they need collaborative, transnational, bilateral, multilateral approaches. So while designing internship programs, I think an element of international perspective, such as climate change, renewable energy, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are not things that we can solve entirely on our own within India. And the more we collaborate, and I think IBM is a great example of that, a multinational organization harnessing its networks for greater good. And I think British Council also works in a similar space. We are in 110, over 100 countries worldwide, and we bring in the best learning in education systems and in higher education collaboration research on the table when we work. And I think that research dimension, even in internship, is very, very critical. I think our young people from India need to have that competitive edge and be in the middle of the conversation of nations at the topmost level in basic sciences, in applied research, in everything we do. So I think there is a risk of using on these opportunities of apprenticeship in a very limited way. And my plea to everyone on this panel and everyone tuning in is to be a lot more ambitious, which NEP at its core is an extremely ambitious statement. And I think we need to align our thinking with those ambitions and intent of NEP.